this is Crystal with Whole New Perspective. I have been harvesting my jalapeno peppers today, and I am so excited to be able to make some candied jalapenos. But guys, before I show you this process, I want to thank you for subscribing to my channel, and I want to thank you for hitting the thumbs up. Today, I'm going to be making and canning candied jalapeno peppers. Now, some people call those Cowboy candy, but that's a trademark name, so I'm just going to call them candied jalapeno peppers. And so one of the things I'm going to be doing today is trying out my Tattler reusable lids, as well as the Harvest Guard reusable lids. I purchased these last year when the regular ball canning lids were hard to find. Now I do have quite a bit of these, and so I'm in good shape for another year or so, but I also wanted to try the reusable lids, and I want to try it on something that it doesn't matter if it fails or not. Now I've heard that it takes quite a bit of practice, and so I'm just going to try them today. I'm going to read the instructions carefully on both of them, and then we'll just see how they turn out. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place these in some water. I've already cleaned them, but they need to sterilize and just continue to stay warm. The wide mouth will be my Tattler, and the small mouth are the Harvest Guards. So I'm going to try them both like that, and then the rest of them I'm just going to use what I normally use, the ball lids. So I'm going to put these in my water now. I also have my jars sterilizing. I just continue to keep mine in the water and let them boil, and then I'll just pull them out as I need them. So I'm just going to keep them in here. I'm going to let the water come to a boil, and then I'm going to turn it off and just let them stay warm. While my reusable lids are sterilizing, I'm just going to go ahead and slice up my jalapenos. Now I always put gloves on whenever I'm dealing with peppers, because I don't want to forget that I've been cutting peppers and end up putting my hands in my face and my eyes, and that definitely would burn. And so if you're cutting up any type of hot peppers, just make sure you have you some gloves. Now I keep the seeds in my peppers, and so if you wanted to take them out, you certainly could, but I'm going to keep mine in because we're also going to make them even hotter by adding some cayenne pepper. And then I also save these ends, and then I dehydrate all the ends, and then I put these in different types of soups, like chicken chili or something like that. Anything that calls for a spicy pepper, I just throw them in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these peppers diced up, then I'll bring you back with me for the next step. I have my pound of jalapeno peppers sliced up, and so now I'm just getting ready to start my brine. And I'm just gonna go over what goes in the brine right now. I'm gonna use this raw and unfiltered organic apple cider vinegar. Now this includes the mother, which means that it just has a live culture. So you use 2/3 cup of this vinegar, and then I'm gonna use 2 cups of sugar. I use organic cane sugar, so I'll use 2 cups of that. You use 1 tablespoon of mustard seed, a tablespoon of garlic powder. I'm going to use 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, 1/4 teaspoon of celery salt, and then 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper powder. I'm going to double this recipe, and so I'm probably going to end up with extra brine, but there are so many different things that you can use this brine for. One of the other things that I like to use it for is to pickle beets. So if you're gonna pickle beets though, you're gonna have to make sure that you water bath those for 30 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you this process and then we'll move forward from there. So it's boiling now. I'm just gonna go ahead and add my peppers. Now some people will fill their jars with the peppers and then put the liquid over it. But I like to do it this way. I found that when I do it this way, that my jalapenos, they don't float to the top. And so now I'm just gonna let these sit in here and simmer for about 5 minutes. So I'm gonna use my reusable candy lids first. And so let's just get going with it. First thing is to fill the jars. Now I'm gonna need 1/4 head space, and that's important, especially with the reusable lids. I'm just going to fill it up with the liquid. Now this is a debubbler, and I'm gonna use this, but it also has your measurements on there, so you know if you have a 1/4 and where the half. So this is the 1/4. You can see that. This top one is the 1/4. So I'm just going to, I need to add a little more liquid. And I'll do the same here. Then I'm gonna debubble it, and I'm just gonna check it again because sometimes you'll need to add more liquid after debubbling. So I will need to add just a little more. Very important to wipe down your jars. So I'm going to take this vinegar. This is just regular white vinegar, and I'm going to use that. Whoops. I'm going to use it to wipe down the rims of my jars. You want to make sure that you get everything clean off the tops of your jars. You want to make sure that you are able to have a good seal, and stickiness, sugars, things like that, it can keep it from sealing. Even these mustard seeds can keep it from sealing. So I'm just gonna continue to wipe it down. And then again, I am using the Tattler, so I wanna go ahead and read it, guys. And I am at the part that it talks about wipe the top of the jar after filling it, then place the lid and the rubber ring combination onto the jar. So since I'm close, this is still warm, hot, so I'm just gonna get it. That's the ring, and I'm just gonna place that on the jar like so. Screw the band on the jar loosely. Center the lid on the jar and hold it in place with fingers while tightening the metal screw band, fingertip tight. So you do a fingertip tight just like you do all of your canning. So that's fingertip tight. Do not over tighten, and I didn't. And then I'm just gonna process this as it says. So I've got that. I'm just gonna make sure that it's fingertip tight. Now, I'm gonna read the harvest guard instructions. It says the same thing. Wipe the mason jar top with a clean towel after filling it prior to placing the lid and gasket on the top of the jar. Then we're gonna thread the metal band onto the jar loosely. Ensure lid remains centered on the jar and gently apply pressure with one finger while tightening the metal screw band with the other hand. Just says to be careful not to over tighten it. This gasket is a lot looser. I don't know if it's going to tighten up during the processing time, but I do notice that it is looser. So I'm just gonna put that on. Then I'm just gonna take one of the rings while I'm holding this down and just tighten it. And this is fingertip tight as well. So guys, then I'm just gonna go ahead and put these into my water bath canner. Now the difference with the reusable ones, it really comes when you complete the processing time. So I am water bath canning in one of my large stock pots. I do have a smaller stock pot that I normally would have water canned in, but I decided just to go ahead and put this large one in here. It is overkill, but let me show you down inside. So I'm just using this basket, and usually I'll use a stock pot, a smaller stock pot, and I'll put that basket in here. And as you can see, it's starting to come to a boil. I need to turn the temperature up and we'll get going. It's come up to a boil. And so now I'm just gonna start my timer for 15 minutes. My timer has ended. So now I'm gonna turn it off and I'm gonna start it back for 5 minutes. I'm gonna turn off the stove, take my lid off, and then I'm just going to start my timer again for 5 minutes. So you just let it stay on the stove for about 5 minutes after it's come to your time has processed. The 5-minute timer has now gone off. I'm gonna go ahead and bring all of the jars over. Harvest guard. This is a Tattler. And this is the ball. So now I'm just gonna set my timers. I'll set one for 4 minutes, one for 7 minutes, and then I'll come back and tighten them up. The 4-minute timer has gone off for the Tattler. And so what I'm gonna do is just screw it down a little tighter. Okay, let's see how this does. The timer has gone off for the harvest guard, 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes. So now I'm just going to tighten it. Now the only thing to do is to let it cool down completely. Take the lids off at that time and see if it sealed. So we'll see. This is Harvest Guard, this is Tattler lid, and these are the ball lids. So we'll just see how everything did and if everything sealed. Again, this is my first time using those. Now some of the things that you can use this candied jalapeno peppers on, I like to use them on my spaghetti, on lasagna, on my turkey burgers, meatloaf, any sorts of things like that. Anything that has a red sauce, I like to use it on. And a lot of people like to use it on their bagels. They put it on top of cream cheese. So I will bring you back with me when these have completely cooled down, and we'll just see if they sealed. It is the next day, and it is the moment of truth. So if you can remember, this is the Ball Sure Tight lid. This is the Tattler reusable lid. And this is the Harvest Guard reusable lid. So one of the things I noticed is that these two are sunken in. And this one is as well. So I'm just gonna start with the ball jar. And it was loose, so I'm just gonna continue to unscrew it. And it is sealed. Okay. I'm gonna go with the Harvest. Let me go with the Tattler reusable lid. I don't think that means anything, so let's just see. It said that it easily lifts up if it's not sealed, but you can pick it up like this and it comes back down. So I think this is a good seal. I think this is a good seal. So this is the Tattler Easy Seal reusable lid. Now let's look at this Harvest Guard to see if it's sealed as well. And it's a good seal also. So my first time using the Tattler Easy reusable lid and the Harvest Guard reusable lid, both of them are a success. Whew. So I'm glad to see that. Thank you guys for coming along with me as I canned my candied jalapeno peppers, as well as using the Tattler Easy Seal reusable lids and the Harvest Guard reusable lids for the very first time. It was a success.